Championship Week presented by 7-Up begins in the historic and beautiful city of Charleston, South Carolina, where Zaki Wadu, the Southern Conference Player of the Year for the East Tennessee State Buccaneers, will take on Chattanooga for the automatic bid to the NCAA tournament. Welcome to Championship Week. I'm Chris Fowler, and we expect history to repeat. The upsets, the surprises, the buzzer beaters, the fans rushing the floor, and the field of 65 being filled out with these teams battling for automatic bid. They must win or they have no chance to reach the ultimate tournament. You'll see 4 bids won today on ESPN or ESPN2. At 2 o'clock Eastern, the Big South, Liberty and High Point are the top 2 seeds. Troy State and UCF in the Atlantic Sun. And the Ohio Valley Conference, a tough Austin Peay team against Murray State. Again, the top teams in these conferences advancing to the championship game. And that includes the Southern Conference. Chattanooga against East Tennessee State. Enjoy this with the Southern Conference bid on the line and Nancy Lieberman.
Well, Chris, thank you. We welcome you to Charleston, South Carolina, where Championship Week presented by 7-Up continues from the North Charleston Coliseum. In this, the 83rd year for the Southern Conference men's basketball tournament. The title game features the Buccaneers of East Tennessee State and the Mocs of Chattanooga. How'd they get here? In the semifinals, East Tennessee State won by 12 points over Davidson, and Tiny Tim Smith was sensational with a career-tying 29 points. In the nightcap, Chattanooga down by 19, pulled it off in overtime, 90-87 over Georgia Southern. Our star watch features a battle of the white bodies inside.
Well, Ashley Champion, the name might sound nice, but his game is all about being nasty. He's big, he's strong, he's got a great work ethic. Although he had 18 points a game on the season average, he had 6 the last time these two teams played. It's about redemption for him. And what can you say about Zaki Wadu? He is the player of the year in the conference. Everything is advertised. He leads this league in rebounds and steals. He's a flat-out winner, Jerry.
2 wide bodies inside, and we've got a couple of mighty mites we're going to be watching at point guard. 2 5'9" point guards that are each quick as a hiccup. You couldn't guard them in a phone booth, and they are going to be fun to watch. We watched them in the semifinals last night. East Tennessee State will be wearing the white uniforms. They were the #1 seed in the North Division. Chattanooga in the navy blue. Along with basketball Hall of Famer Nancy Lieberman, I'm Jerry Punch. Glad to have you with us here at Southern Conference title action here in Charleston, South Carolina. Oldest conference tournament in the nation. Going back to 1923, this the 83rd year. As we are set for the tip here at the North Charleston Coliseum.
This is going to be a game of transition and half-court execution, especially for Chattanooga.
Saw 2 up-tempo teams last night here. Pass inside, picked off. And there's the man who is among the nation's leaders in steals, Zaki Wadu.
Now, Jerry, last night we watched these two teams go at it. And what I thought, East Tennessee State got such momentum early in the game against Davidson and never relinquished it.
You see the athleticism of Wadu. He's a Southern Conference Player of the Year on that putback there a moment ago. There's Trowell, the 5'9" leader for Chattanooga.
Now, both teams are going to come out and play man-to-man defense. Although this time, you know, this is exactly what Chattanooga did yesterday against Georgia Southern. They started in their 2-3 zone and then switched to the man.
Strong, who had 17 last night. The front is on the outside attempt. Nice turnaround inside by Rogan. Physical inside. Champion, and he turns an ankle and goes down. And apparently, we were told in the pregame warm-ups he had an ankle turn last night and had ice on it all day today, and now he goes down here in the opening minutes. So we can see what happened.
What a great offensive rebound here. You know how hard he goes to the glass, and he comes down on that, and we talked about redemption. 6 points last time these guys played in 31 minutes.
Now look inside. You see him go down and grab that left knee ankle area. Now he is up, and you hear the crowd respond. Ashley Champion, All-Southern Conference player for the Mocs of Chattanooga. Second leading scorer in the conference, averaging over 18.5 points a game. As you look at their lineup, Champion, they can ill afford to lose him. Champion, Trowell, and Rogan are the seniors. Brown, who had 24 last night, and Catalinas from Lithuania, maybe one of the better players in the final 5 games of the season for that team. Gerald Fields, Smith, Rhoda, Strong, and Wadu, the starting 5 for the Buccaneers of ETSU.
Hey, Jerry, this is a major injury right now for the Mocs, because I really felt that Champion had to play like a star, like an MVP, to get them over the top, even though it's a very balanced team with 4 players in double-figure scoring.
They needed his physical presence inside to try to counter big Gerald Fields and big Wadood. Now it's going to be up-tempo motion basketball. Still trying to find their stroke, and here comes the Buccaneers.
Well, the one thing that we mentioned is that anytime Timmy Smith comes down, he is so quick and has such soft touch on that floating jumper or his runner in the lane. You have to play him for the jump shot and take away the drive.
We mentioned Smith had 29 points last night in the semifinal. He had 27 when these two teams met a week and a half ago up in Johnson City. Partially blocked. Nice follow by Chris Brown, the junior out of Hopkins, South Carolina.
Well, he might be quiet, but he's very explosive, Chris Brown, and he's going to have to be a factor in the game.
Off the mark again, Wadood. Catalinas, the big Lithuanian, who's become a major factor here in the final 2 weeks of the season for this ball club, probably playing his best basketball all year long.
You know, they ran this high post screen for Tau last night, and it could not be stopped by Georgia Southern because they would not trap it. They just allowed him to penetrate the elbow and get to the basket.
Nice inside pass, and Catalinas will draw the first foul on Gerald Fields.
See, this is just nice execution of a half-court offense. There's a lot of diversion on ball side. If you turn your head, watch the weak side right here. This guy underneath the basket, you got to drop this guard down. That is your rotation. You got to get on the split line, and right there, you're late defensively. Your teammates are trusting that you'll be there in rotation.
Catalinas hits the free throw and puts the Mocs up by 4. We saw a very disciplined offense last night from Jeff Lebo's club. As I mentioned, they were down by as much as 19, but that kind of discipline off the screen brought them back in the second half.
Well, it did, because you know what? They're the #1 scoring team in the conference, #1 shooting team in the conference, #1 3-point shooting team. So they have the tools, the pieces to get them back in a game.
Again, Zaki Wadood showing his athleticism inside on the rebound on the putback to draw the Buccaneers to within 2.
Well, both teams have chosen to start or switch to their zone defenses right now. Maybe they feel with Champion out of the game, they can make Chattanooga jump shooters.
Smith trying to penetrate, pass inside to Wadood, strong off the glass. Alfonso Pugh, who missed a couple of games early in the year, in now for some rebounding help inside.
Hey, Jerry, right now the tempo of this game is very much in favor of Tennessee Chattanooga. This is what Jeff Lebo wants his team to do, make a lot of passes, the extra pass, and then look for good shots.
ETSU would like to be running up and down the floor. That's when they were the most effective last night, and almost taken away by Strong. And Trowell sort of nonchalantly going after the basketball, and that draws a glare from his head coach, Jeff Lebo.
Okay, we got to make mention that Travis Strong, the freshman, he only plays about 8 minutes a game, but with James Anthony going down with a shoulder injury 7 minutes into the game, this guy was 3 for 3 from three-point range, 9 points in the first half. He's going to get a lot of playing time with that performance.
Zone prevents the penetration. The side shot won't fall. Nice effort inside again by Grant Brown. Chris Brown and the fellow we were talking about last night who stepped up strong with 17 points, or probably 20 points.
Well, so important for stars to be stars and role players to take care of the little detail work, set the screens, go to the boards, dive after balls.
Chris Brown out of Hopkins, South Carolina, after spending a couple of years at Polk Community College. A 3-point differential. Chattanooga up by 3. How about Zaki Wadood, Conference Player of the Year, getting it done on the putback. Zaki for 2 for the Bucks.
ESPN's exclusive presentation of Championship Week is presented by 7-Up and your local 7-Up bottler. Make 7-Up yours. And in part by Insight.
And back in beautiful Charleston, South Carolina, the North Charleston Coliseum, the site of the Southern Conference title game. Chattanooga up by 3, along with Hall of Famer Nancy Lieberman. I'm Jerry Punch. Glad to have you with us. And Nancy, the big story early on here is the fact that Ashley Champion, the go-to guy for Chattanooga, may be gone for the day because of an injury. How will that impact their game plan?
It's going to be huge because we know how big and strong he is on the inside. Last night, he scored his 1,000th point. He now has 1,003 in his career in 2 years. He can do things on the inside, the outside, and he has tremendous footwork around the basket. So now you have to change your game plan. You want to be more perimeter oriented, and it puts a lot of pressure on Mindaugas Katalinas, from Lithuania. He's got to come up big with numbers, Jerry.
You see his average there, 18.6 a game. He struggled with a knee injury back in January, an MCL sprain. But as yet, he has not come back in the basketball game, and that is a huge loss for the Mocs of Chattanooga. Rimming out from outside, and the smallest guy on the floor gets the rebound. Here comes Ray Trowell. Transition quickly. That is Tim Smith's game. Up the floor in the soft touch.
Well, you know what he does? He releases it as he's going to the basket. As a shot blocker, you're just a little too late getting your arm up.
These two teams met twice during the regular season. Had a great game at Chattanooga where the Mocs were up by 19 at halftime, yet East Tennessee State came back and won by 2. And they played a week and a half ago in Johnson City, and East Tennessee State winning by 12 because of that kind of effort right there by Tim Smith. What a sensational effort he put in the final game of the year for the seniors in Johnson City.
Well, he was magnificent yesterday. He tied a career high, 29 points. He knows when to pull it out. He knows when to penetrate and attack the glass. He's just a smart basketball player. I cannot believe he's only a sophomore. Who's a better guard at his, Jameer Nelson? I mean, who is better with his speed?
Watching work here, he can fly up the floor. He will stop and put up nice defensive effort by Trowell, who blocks the shot. That might be the first time I've seen anyone stop Tim Smith this entire tournament.
Little on little, and a beautiful play because Trowell matched the shooting hand. He didn't go to block it with his right hand. He went with his left.
38-year-old Jeff Lebo, second-year head coach of Tennessee Chattanooga. 2003 Southern Conference Coach of the Year. He's had him in the title game now 2 years in a row after spending 4 years up at Tennessee Tech and winning back-to-back Ohio Valley Conference titles.
And you don't think he is a tough guy when it comes to his point guards and asking Ray to do certain things for him after he had such a marvelous career in North Carolina for Dean Smith?
No doubt about it. Nice little reversal there by Alfonso Pugh on the garbage basket.
Jerry, when I saw Bobby Crimmins here yesterday, it reminded me of the time that Jeff Lebo just lit up Georgia Tech, and Bobby Crimmins couldn't do anything about it. He was just raining threes.
Jeff Lebo, an All-Atlantic Coast Conference guard from 86 to 89 for Dean Smith and the Tar Heels. Who've got their work cut out for them tonight. We'll tell you more about what's coming up later on ESPN down at Cameron. Break by the Buccaneers. Wadud off the glass for 2.
That is a clinic on how to draw and dish the ball to your teammate going to the iron.
Zaki Wadud, Conference Player of the Year, 6'5", 220 pounds. Incredible vertical leap. He runs a 4.5 40. He was an option quarterback in high school. They say he may be a better football player than he is a basketball player.
Hey, I was a football player when I grew up, and then they kicked me out, made me do TV with you.
It made you be a Hall of Famer in basketball. Tough break for you there, Nancy. Nice dish out to Brown. Take a look at Murray Bartow, his first year as the head coach at East Tennessee State. Only the third coach in the Southern Conference history to earn Coach of the Year honors in his first year. John Crest did it at College of Charleston. Jeff Lebo did it last year. And this year, it's Murray Bartow, a head man at ETSU.
But, you know, he was also three-time Coach of the Year in the Ohio Valley Conference. He's so good. How can you not learn when your dad is Gene Bartow? I mean, he has such, great roots to understanding the game of basketball.
Here's Big Gerald Fields inside. They had no answer for him in their game at Johnson City a week and a half ago. Talk about wide bodies. Well, we'll update what's going on with Ashley Champion. Ice pack on the left ankle for Big Zero, the senior out of Beaumont, Tennessee. Thanks, Chris. Boston College getting it done. We got a good one here. Chattanooga down by a point, and there is Ashley Champion. And I talked to the trainer a moment ago. Left ankle sprain. They're going to ice it. They're going to retape it. Take him back in the locker room. They hope to have him back in late first half, early second. I don't see how, but then again, I'm not working on it.
Yeah, but you are a doctor, and you do play one on TV. But, you know, I think for Jeff Lebo's team, the comforting thing for him is they get a lot of bench support. Last night they had 21 points, 12 rebounds, and only 1 turnover from the kids that came off the bench. Knuckles can do that. Nice
stroke from outside by the big fella. Big 6'9" Brad Knuckles. 4-point lead, 3-point field goal. Chattanooga thus far shut out from beyond the arc, 0 for 5. Maybe that'll change right there. Almost. A little too strong off the iron.
Well, yesterday, Richardson and Long just really gave Chattanooga a real lift off the bench.
And the freshman Scott throws it away. And here comes Wadood back in the game, and they will let Big Gerald Fields take a seat. There's Zaki Wadood.
You know, Jerry, as competitors, the Mocs had a chance to avenge some losses this year. They did that when they beat Charleston. They did that when they beat Georgia Southern. Now they get a chance. Can they avenge one more regular season loss?
Well, they're certainly going to try. Nice inside move by Anderson. Charles Anderson, the sophomore out of Chattanooga. Dish back outside to Wadood, and Smith will put it up for 3.
That is too easy. If your hands are out to the side, you've got an open shot. You've got to put a hand up to the shooter and take away the side of the rim.
And he's 5 feet 9 inches tall, Nancy. I mean, those hands up could make a difference.
Absolutely. It just changes his whole perspective of what's open and what's not.
Tempo picking up. That will favor East Tennessee State. Wadood off the glass. Chattanooga needs to slow it back down and get back into their half-point game, which is where they were able to have success last night in the semifinal.
No, you're absolutely right, because East Tennessee is all about transition. They want to play quick. They want to push tempo and get points both off their offense and their defense.
Long with a nice head fake. Move inside. Nearly throws it away for 3. And they're going to get a push inside.
See, when you're playing against Timmy Smith, you know at 5'9", see, watch this, see where the hands are right here? That says to a shooter, let it go. If your hands are up high, now you know you don't have that shot. I mean, that's something that is just repetitive with coaching. Teach him to recognize what's open and what's not.
At least make him try to add the arc to it anyway. By the way, that foul inside on Ben Rhoda on the push-off.
Chattanooga does such a good job of making the extra pass, especially against the zone. And when they get you to one side, they reverse it. You want to pass or attack the gaps in the zone. You don't want to dribble. There you go.
Oh, nice pass inside underneath Alfonso Pugh.
Jerry, how many times did they pass the ball? 6, 7 times? Give the defense a chance to make a mistake. If you take it side to side, chances are somebody will.
Great coaching by Jeff Lebo. Very disciplined offense, and that's what Chattanooga does best. Slowing the tempo. Here's the big fellow getting Knuckles from outside. And Rogan will bring it down for the Mocs.
Well, I can tell you right now, the game plan for both teams is to take Smith and Tao out of the game by using that high post pick that they did in both semifinal games. Make them jump shooters.
In the quarterfinals, Chattanooga was down by 14 in the game, came back and won. In the semifinals, they were down by 16 in the first 4 minutes of the ball game. This team is very accustomed to trailing, so this is a nail-biter for them, being only down by 3.
It is a nail-biter, but you know, ironically, we talked about Ashley Champion. He averages 18 points a game. He did not have any points in the first half last night. He had all 20 in the second half.
And here's the fellow who led him last night. Brown had 24. He can't get that shot to fall. Ball slapped away, and the Chattanooga will hold on to it.
This will be a test of East Tennessee's patience.
Inside the pew. Nice little release. Nice follow by Brown. Can't get it to fall, and they still wrestle for it. Great second and third effort by the Mocs of Chattanooga. And Fields will draw the foul inside, and he's the guy that Chattanooga was so concerned about last night, that we have no answer to big Gerald Fields.
Well, you talk about a big body.
Well, Sunday ESPN offers up more NBA action on a special day and time. Paul Pierce and the Boston Celtics continue their fight for a playoff berth as they visit Kevin Garnett, Sam Cassell, and the Minnesota Timberwolves, have been one of the NBA's best teams this season. At Sunday night at 7:30 Eastern Time, an NBA special on ESPN.
I think Garnett's MVP right now. That's a pretty tough team with Cassell and Spree.
No doubt about that. Boy, they're playing here of recent anyway. Nice block inside, and here come the Buccaneers. Smith trying to penetrate. Soft floater, won't fall. And the freshman Strong on the follow.
Josh, are they just not two different teams when they're pushing tempo and they got Chattanooga on their heels, or when they have to play in the half court?
There are the second chance points. Take a look at Chattanooga, their effort. You're exactly right, Nancy. What's happening last night when East Tennessee State went to their half-court game, they allowed Davidson to climb back into it. Davidson down by 14, got down to within 5 with 5 minutes to play.
Well, there's the big guy in the game, Charles Anderson, in the game for Chattanooga. He's the only one who can really put a body on Fields, who was 285. He slimmed down to 260, and he's still, you know, just a load in the middle.
If you just joined our coverage and you're looking for Ashley Champion, the big fellow inside, the all-conference forward for Chattanooga. He went down with a sprained left ankle in the first minute and a half of this ball game. He is back in the locker room being attended to. We are told they are going to try to get him back in the ball game. So certainly Chattanooga playing somewhat handicapped without the big fella inside, but holding tough, just down by 6.
Transition, it'll kill you every time. We are playing for the big picture. This is about being the first team in the NCAA tournament. These guys played a year ago. East Tennessee won that. So you know there's a lot of redemption, especially for the Mocs.
Who's going to get their ticket punched to the big dance out of the Southern Conference? The oldest college basketball men's tournament in the nation, dating back to 1923. Take a look at the ETSU resume, the RPI 69. 26-5, 17-1 in conference play this year. What an incredible year. Set a record for conference wins at East Tennessee State. Key wins at Houston to open the year, at Fresno State on our Bracket Buster Saturday. That was a big win for them out in California. They lost at Texas Tech in the second game of the year out in Lubbock, Bobby Nice Bunch, and at Clemson, South Carolina.
You know, and it was tough for them because they're 15-0. Last game of the regular season, they lose to the College of Charleston. They could have gone 16-0. The last team to go undefeated was the College of Charleston in the 98-99 season. Pride is a wonderful thing.
Murray Bartow, what a job he has done. Of course, he is a Bobby Knight disciple. Was a GA for Bobby up at Indiana during the national championship years of '87. And they will call steps on the little guy. Ray Trowell will turn it over. Got a good one going on here in Charleston, South Carolina, Southern Conference title. Security's live from that famed arena. The Cameron Crazies will be on hand, and there's the series history. Duke has won 13 of the last 15. Mike Krzyzewski all knotted up 28-28 against Carolina, against the Tar Heels. And that last meeting, that was an instant classic, 83-81 in overtime in the Dean Dome back in early February.
It's just hard to believe that Duke has won 13 of the last 15, but Roy Williams, this is what you live for. This is why you took the job.
Remember, the Blue Devils coming off that upset at home this week against Georgia Tech, and they lost by 8, and certainly they will be fired up as the Tar Heels come to town. You just saw Jeff Lebo a moment ago. He was a major part of that rivalry for a number of years as a point guard for Dean Smith. Got a good one going on here in Charleston, South Carolina. Nice feed inside to Alfonso Pugh.
Wow. East Tennessee fell asleep in the 2-3 zone, just got front cut to the basket.
Catalinas on the block, a field shot.
Hey, Doc, coaches love out of timeouts when they drop a play and it actually is executed. That says something about your team.
Jeff Lebo had to love that one. Also had to love the defensive effort by the Lithuanian Catalinas blocking the big shot of Gerald Fields there a moment ago.
If you pass the ball against the zone can't catch up with it. They should be moving on the flight of the ball when it leaves the fingertips.
Trowell trying to penetrate, hasn't been able to get inside today. Dishes back out. That one a little hard off the iron, and it'll belong to East. Final 5 minutes of the first half. We are at the North Charleston Coliseum in Charleston, South Carolina. Championship week presented by 7-Up, along with Hall of Famer Nancy Lieberman. I'm Jerry Punch. The 83rd edition of the Southern Conference Tournament title game here with Tennessee, Chattanooga, and East Tennessee State. And the freshman Strong nails his first three-pointer of the day.
You know, sometimes they say when you're a young player that ignorance is bliss because they don't know the pressure sometimes of big games because they're just playing when you're young. You get to be a junior and senior, you go, oh my gosh, this is really important. And he has just been remarkable.
He doesn't know to be nervous.
Exactly.
That one partially blocked by Knuckles, and here come the Buccaneers. Smith on the break, back outside to the freshman once again. And they're going to call the foul inside on the sophomore Knuckles. That'll be his first of the afternoon.
You know, but that's okay because he was doing something positive for his team. He was trying to get to the offensive boards. Coaches don't mind that.
Brad Knuckles, highly recruited out of Virginia a year ago, becoming a factor inside for the Buccaneers of East Tennessee State. Back with more in just a moment. Thank you, Chris. 7-Up halftime report coming your way in the next 3 minutes and 58 seconds. We are in Charleston, South Carolina, and the key story here is what happened early on for Chattanooga. Their go-to guy inside, Ashley Champion. Watch him go down with a left ankle sprain. Their all-conference force inside has not played a single minute since that sprain. They brought him over, put ice on it, taped him up, and right now he is back in the locker room and has yet to come back out here at all in the first half.
And Jerry, I would think for somebody like him, the longer you wait, the longer it starts getting stiff on you. So if he could have played, he'd be out here. But for Chattanooga, the best three-point shooting team in the league at 38%, they're 1 for 11. So what happens, long shots mean long rebounds. And East Tennessee is able to break out. They have 12 unanswered points on fast break opportunities.
They have no physical presence inside. There's a three-point, 1 of 11 for the team that led the conference throughout the year in field goal percentage and three-point shooting. A great perimeter shooting team, but nothing inside in the paint with big Ashley Champion missing.
But what happens, Doc, is that you lose your presence. You go inside, and people have to respect that. Now with him not on the court, they can match up to the perimeter shooters. Do they get shots? Yes, but they're contested shots.
They have not been able to penetrate outside very much. Inside to Pugh, the nice soft right-hander over Knuckles. And they're hanging tough, just down by 5, considering how they've trailed by significant margins in the quarterfinals and semifinals. They are playing an awfully good first half here for Jeff Lebo's Mocs of Chattanooga. And Murray Bartow says, I want to talk it over here in the final 2 minutes and 46 seconds. Doesn't like what he sees on his offense. Well, later today, join ABC Sports for some great regional college hoops action at 3:30 Eastern, 12:30 Pacific. You'll see either Memphis and Cincinnati or BYU UNLV. Check your local listings for the game in your area. Now, Memphis could clinch a regular season Conference USA title with the win today. And, of course, rumor is that Lon Kruger is being considered for the UNLV head coaching spot. There's a look at Conference USA as Memphis and Cincinnati getting it done, and a win by the Tigers will allow them to collect the regular season conference title.
They have such unbelievable coaches in Conference USA. You know, you get Calipari, you got Huggy, you get Pitino. I mean, everybody's just uplifting each other.
And there's a supporting cast trying to support champion who's out, Chris Brown and Alfonso Pugh. You see their points 7 and 8 respectively.
Well, the guy who I think is going to make the difference offensively for Chattanooga has to be Alfonso Pugh, the sophomore. He's capable of putting up big numbers. He was on the all-freshman Socon team a year ago. I just like everything about his game, underneath and up top.
Missed a couple of games early in the year, including the East Tennessee State game with a shoulder injury. Here comes Tim Smith, and it's Pugh on Smith. Smith tosses it up but draws the foul.
Doug, Timmy Smith is the only guy I know who you would say, go ahead, go 1-on-4.
I mean, you can't guard that guy in a phone booth.
No, you can't. And what he does, if you're a shot blocker right here, the nice pick by Field. And watch him. See, he's seeing you get underneath the chest, under the chin of a shot blocker. You take away his extension. That's how a little takes advantage of a big.
And he takes advantage of that foul by nailing the first of 2 free throws. He's a 75% free throw shooter. As we mentioned, had 29 points in the semifinals, tying his career high last year set against UNC Greensboro. And with those shots, Smith joins the 1,000-point club. He becomes the 27th member of the Buccaneer basketball history to go over 1,000 points for his career, joining Wadood and Gerald Fields. How about having 3 players over 1,000 points playing on the same basketball team?
Well, pretty much if you're a coach, you get your contract renewed with 3 players that do that.
Catalinas goes up and draws the foul. It'll be on Knuckles. That'll be his second. We mentioned Brad Knuckles lifting weights 4 days a week, trying to become more physical inside, and that physicalness has gotten him 2 quick fouls here in the last 2.5 minutes, but he's obviously become a defensive factor.
He is a defensive factor. You know, he's a big guy at 6'9". He's young. He can hit a 3. He's got good shooting touch, and he's a good defender. He only struggles with the really quick athletic posts who are a little shorter than he.
Mendagas Catalinas out of Lithuania. Spent a couple of years at Eastern Utah Junior College, and now his first year as a mock in Chattanooga.
You know, Jerry, Zaki Wadu, deservedly so, player of the year in the conference, but the runner-up was Tim Smith. A year ago, he was the MVP of this tournament, and he was only a freshman.
For 3, and Gerald Fields, the big fella, steps out and nails the 20-footer.
Boy, how about that when you're bigs and hit threes like that?
1 minute and 20 seconds away from our 7-Up halftime report. Chris Fowler and company update on what's happening in basketball around the country as our championship week presented by 7-Up continues. Nice dish inside. Brown can't get the roll. And the follow by Catalinas.
Now, I love watching Chattanooga pass the basketball. They don't put it to where you are. They put it to where you should be.
And they will call the hand check, that time on Ray Trowell.
You know, you talked about Tim Smith getting his 1,000th point.
And we just mentioned coming up our 7-Up halftime report. Tickets punched. Who's going to the big dance? UNC Duke preview. That's coming up tonight with Mike Patrick and Dick Vitale, and a Kobe update. What's happening with Kobe Bryant? Here comes Tim Smith all the way in. You're not going to catch him.
Tal has totally been nullified from the guy we saw get a career high last night, 20 points.
Largest lead of the first half by East Tennessee State, and Jeff Lebo says, okay, guys, let's just get one shot here. Let's hold the basketball, get a good shot offensively. They back it into Catalinas for the short turnaround, and he is off the mark. But it'll go back to Chattanooga.
You know, Chattanooga's the type of team that they like to play quick, but they are never in a hurry. They sure can take their time and use patience.
They will not get another shot clock. It'll be 13 seconds on the shot clock, 25.4 on the clock here in the first half as Murray Bartow's bunch has moved out to their largest lead here of 8 points in the Southern Conference title game.
Yeah, but Doc, the most important thing with this possession is if you're Chattanooga, you want to shoot with like 2-3 seconds on the clock. You don't want to give East Tennessee a possession.
Trout couldn't get it to fall. Final 10 seconds of the first half, and here come the Buccaneers. Smith out to Rhoda for three. And a battle inside, and Zaki Wadoud will be called with a personal foul. That'll be his first foul of the night. And when he got 3 early fouls in the semifinals last night, and when he got his 4th foul, had to take a seat with 11 minutes to go in the game, that's when Davidson began to climb back against East Tennessee State.
Well, he's so good on both ends. He's a good defender, and he's such a great offensive player.
An 8-point margin at halftime. The Buccaneers of East Tennessee State. Tim Smith, 13 points today. He had 29 points in the semifinals last night. What's happening with Ashley Champion in the locker room? We'll answer all those questions. Let's go to the studio and halftime report. Here's Chris Fowler. Chris? Charleston Coliseum, where we are at halftime of the Southern Conference Tournament title game. And the Buccaneers of East Tennessee State are up by 8 over Chattanooga. Our game track, Chris Brown working hard from the perimeter outside, working inside, I should say, in the absence of Ashley Champion.
Chris Brown, unbelievable. Even though he's only 3 for 11, he has not stopped working. And what can you say about Timmy Smith? In the tournament, he's averaged 26 points, 7 rebounds, 7 assists. He does it as well as the defensive end. I don't know if I've seen another small, big man like him. Jameer Nelson is the only one who comes to mind.
Tiny Tim tiptoeing through the mocks to the tune of 13 points. Take a look at the first half numbers, and that is huge. They are the best 3-point shooting team in the conference, and they are shooting 7% here in the first half, 1 of 13.
Well, okay, you magnify that number with this number. That means you're not shooting well, but you're also not getting back in transition defense, and at least make East Tennessee State shoot jumpers, not layups.
Chattanooga has been a second-half ball club here throughout the tournament. They were trailed in both the quarters and the semifinals and have taken the lead late in both games. As Tim Smith picks up where he left off in the first half, now has 16 points here in this one.
But Chattanooga came out in a 1-3-1 zone. You never let the front of the 1-3-1 match up with you. You go 2 guard front, and if they don't slide your side, you shoot the shot.
Largest lead of the game now for East Tennessee State, 11 points. Rhoda going up for the shot. Nice rejection inside by Catalinas. And Chattanooga will look to try to slow it down and be very deliberate with their half-court offense here, which is where they had most of their success in the first half.
Now East Tennessee is in their man-to-man defense coming out of the second half, giving Tao just a different look.
And Smith, you will rarely see him lose the basketball. And take a look at the numbers on the Mighty Might. 16 points, 21 minutes, 6 of 11 from the field, and 0 turnovers until that one right there just a moment ago.
You like my arrow? I love point guards that have no turnovers in 20 minutes.
Speaking of turnovers, Chattanooga reciprocates.
I mean, those are the unforced turnovers you cannot afford to happen, because that was going to lead to a layup.
And there is Ashley Champion for you mock fans. He is back on the bench. His status still uncertain. Sprained left ankle in the first minute and 30 seconds of this game. He has not played since. He went down on the left ankle. We are told he had the ankle iced all morning in the hotel. So it was basically a re-sprain of an ankle from the semifinal game last night.
And I tell you what, this is a Tennessee Chattanooga program that's very proud. They've been to 8 NCAA tournaments thus far. They went to a Sweet 16 in '97, and we'll revisit. It is the key player of the game. It's 2 minutes in when their best player, Ashley Champion, went down.
Largest margin of the game. Here is Rhoda inside and gets the nice soft roll. 13-point lead for East Tennessee State, but I'm going to remind you again, I can't say this enough after watching what happened in the semifinals, that Chattanooga has been behind in both games here in this tournament by huge margins and come back to win. In fact, 8 times this year they were trailing at half and came back to win every single ball game.
I know players get scouting reports and they watch film. You know that Tim Smith is lefty. Why don't you take away his left hand and at least force him to a perceived weakness on the floor?
If you were going to try to diminish his ability to use the left hand, what's the best thing you would try to do defensively?
I would play off him and I'd make him beat me with his jump shot. A year ago, he shot 42% from 3. This year, he's shooting 29% from 3. I mean, I'd be like a baseball manager. I'd play some percentages.
We're talking about Tim Smith, the sophomore guard, conference tournament player of the year, freshman of the year a year ago here in the Southern Conference. 29 last night in the semifinal, 16 thus far today. And Ray Trowell can't get that shot to fall, and Ray is an 84% free throw shooter, one of the best at the line. In fact, the Chattanoogas lead the conference from the charity stripe, averaging over 73% as a team.
And in the quick substitution right here by Coach Lebo, he puts in Brian Richardson, who's a three-point specialist, and percentage-wise, he has the highest percentage in the conference at 49%.
Here comes Casey Long, the freshman in, and it will give Ray Trowell a well-deserved rest there for a few moments. He sits down beside Ashley Champion.
Well, now you've got your long-range bombers in the game, and let's see what that does for Chattanooga.
12-point margin for the Buccaneers, trying to win back-to-back conference championships, and they will call the charge on Zaki Wadoud. That is his second personal.
It's really not a bad call. He had a rolling start, but he had a shooter in the corner, and that's where you have to keep your head up.
Brian Richardson there drawing the charge, a junior out of Rossville, Georgia. Murray Bartow in his first year as the head coach of the Buccaneers, spending 6 years at UAB. Son of Gene Bartow, of course, former UCLA and Alabama Birmingham coach. That shot partially blocked. Here comes Smith. Again loses the handle and then throws it away inside. It'll still belong to ETSU.
Well, again, it's not that he didn't complete the play. It's that he's keeping Chattanooga on their heels. But, I want to revisit, you just talked about Gene Bartow. How difficult is it to replace a legend? He went in there to UCLA and had to replace the incredible Dean Smith. John Wooden. I mean, how tough is that?
Right. Well, this young man, I'm sure that Gene is very, very proud of what Murray Bartow has done in his young coaching career. You learn from your dad. You become a GA for Bobby Knight. You basically got a Bobby Knight disciple coaching ETSU, and you got a Dean Smith disciple and Jeff Lebo coaching Chattanooga.
Yeah, but that's cool. You're seeing a lot of this right now. Chris Collins' son, Doug Collins' son, Chris Collins, is the assistant coach at Duke for Mike Krzyzewski. You're seeing a lot of good young talent.
Knuckles has a nice touch from outside for a big man. Can't get that one to fall. And how about the 25 win club, huh? This season, St. Joe, Stanford, Pittsburgh, East Tennessee State, 26-5. What a year for the Buccaneers in Johnson City.
Oh, it is quite a year. And consider that this is something that, you know, he's a second-year coach. Bartow's a first-year coach. This conference is getting some really good people in the fold as far as coaches.
Give a call to Ed Gishelis, by the way, who left ETSU to take over at his alma mater, Penn State. He left a pretty good cupboard full of talent for Mr. Bartow.
Well, and the other thing, what Murray did was he didn't change everything. He left, wow.
What an effort, what an athletic move by Zaki Wadoud. Unbelievable. Now you understand why he is respected by everybody in the conference. Are you kidding me? Watch this. 6'5", 220 pounds, going up. No, I'm going to reject that one. All right, thank you, Chris. We are back here in Charleston, South Carolina, where it's a 12-point margin. The Buccaneers of East Tennessee State trying to win their second consecutive Southern Conference Tournament title game, along with Nancy Lieberman. I'm Jerry Punch. Glad to have you with us. And that tells the difference right there. Look at the perimeter points for Chattanooga.
Well, and that's the 1 for 14 shooting from 3. You can't win basketball games when you're shooting about 6% from 3. And it's a problem. And you talk about this could be East Tennessee State's second title. No team has won back-to-back titles in the last 5 years. Matter of fact, 5 different teams have won these titles.
East Tennessee State had a string of 4 in a row back in the late 80s, early 90s, when Les Robinson and Alan LaForce each won 2 apiece. In fact, Jeff Lebo was an assistant coach in the final 2 of those for East Tennessee State. Here come the Buccaneers again on the run. Nice dish inside from Knuckles to Rhoda.
Yeah, but how many big men on the move can pass like that? Usually say, don't give the ball to your big until he's got his feet set on the block. That's really nice by Knuckles.
Knuckles, a single-A player of the year in Virginia 2 years in a row.
And we had a sighting of a 3 by Richardson as East Tennessee went to their 2-3 zone.
Here is Smith from outside trying to retaliate.
Wow.
Fields inside the Knuckles.
Are you kidding me? I love the way the bigs play for the Bucks.
Now you understand why, excuse me, Nancy, you understand why this team can win 26 ball games, including a string of 16 in a row from January to the end of February.
Yeah, that is just nice. They're consistent. They make the extra pass.
Alfonso Pugh will draw the foul on Wadoud, but watch this pass from bigs to bigs, as you put it.
It is a big to a big. Not only a great presence of mind, but catching it and flipping it back. Fields averaged nearly 2 assists on the year. That's just nice for a big. And Jerry, I know that you and I have wanted to do this. The Bucks play-by-play guy is Jay Sandos. And December 15th, he was called into action. He's in Iraq right now. He's watching this game on Armed Forces TV. And, I mean, we appreciate him protecting us and serving our country.
And his Buccaneers are getting it done here, and he's getting it done for our nation. And Jay, we appreciate you. We know that everyone's up over there in Iraq watching this ESPN title game here, Southern Conference title game. And we wish you the best. Hurry back soon. 12-point margin for East Tennessee State over the Mocs of Chattanooga. Here's Tim Smith trying to work that magic inside.
He reminds me so much of Mark Jackson's teardrop shot in the lane, where he just releases it so early and it just gets over the little fingers of the bigs.
Young man is just so lightning quick. Reminds me with the quickness maybe of a Muggsy Bogues.
Yeah, Muggsy with a shot.
With a little bit better shooting touch. And Catalina's battling inside. It is championship week presented by 7-Up. We are at the North Charleston Coliseum in Charleston, South Carolina. The 83rd renewal of the Southern Conference Men's Tournament, the oldest college tournament in the nation. Along with Nancy Lieberman, I'm Jerry Punch. East Tennessee State trying to win back-to-back Southern Conference titles. Taking on the Mocs of Chattanooga. They finished 1-2 in the North Division. And both had to come back in the quarterfinals to win their opening round games here in the tournament. What great effort inside by Catalina, just trying to manhandle the bigger Gerald Fields.
And right now, Chattanooga, they have to start making some decisions to really put some more pressure on the ball. They're allowing East Tennessee to reverse the ball whenever they want.
Here is Strong, the freshman who had 17 last night. Nice soft drive to the hoop.
That's all related to discipline, to spacing, and taking away rotation on the weak side.
Here is Long, the freshman point guard outside. They feel he will have a very, very bright future up in Chattanooga in years to come. Here is Smith again. He'll take it on his own, overshoots the basket, gets his own rebound, follows the shot. And now Long trying to pick it up, and they will call the foul on Fields. Long ran into Fields. It's like bumping into a building.
Yes, a very large building, sort of a skyscraper. See right here, everybody going for the ball. You know, you're trying to get into the NCAA tournament. This is what should be happening. We should see a scrum like that.
Lots of contact. Who's going to get their ticket punch to the big dance? East Tennessee State 24-5. That man's team right there, Jeff Lebo, 17-10. They finished second in the North Division of the Southern Conference.
And Jerry, just think, we are helping out the selection committee. We're taking all the pressure off of the committee by getting the first team in.
And there will be a number of tickets punched today. We'll keep you posted on what happens. Glad to have you with us here in our championship week presented by 7-Up. We get it opened up here in Southern Conference style. Wadood down with a big rebound, and here come the Buccaneers once again. Nice no-look pass by Rhoda. And Catalinas is just battling for all he's worth. Oh, nice pass from the freshman to Pugh for the points for Chattanooga.
Wonderful job by Pugh of protecting the ball, using his body and shielding, using the rim to shield the block.
(56-42), 11:58, and Tiny Tim is getting it done. Rivalry. And when they met early in the year, what a night. Sean May had 21 career rebounds. Back on February 5th, the overtime win by Duke, 83-81.
Well, with the way Duke's been playing lately, he's going to need to get 21 rebounds, and J.J. Redick is going to have that shot on. Dare I say there's a better shooter in the country than him.
Or the best pure shooter. Of course, I think even Coach Krzyzewski's talked about it's the best shooter he's ever coached. He's coached a few good ones over the years.
That's got to hurt Chris Collins because he's sitting on that bench.
Chattanooga, the Mocs of Chattanooga in the navy, East Tennessee State in the white. 83rd edition of the Southern Conference Championship game, and they're going to call steps inside on Ray Trowell. He'll turn it over.
Tell you what, the last fast break basket by Chattanooga was their first of the game. It is a 16-2 edge to East Tennessee. It's hard to make up those kind of points.
Chattanooga with 10 turnovers versus 6 for East Tennessee State. There's the fast break points you heard Nancy talking about a moment ago. Inside Wadood over to Knuckles, and he will draw the foul in the air from Alfonso Pugh. That is his third. Well, other games going on. As we said, we're going to have some tickets punched today when it comes to the big dance. As we'll take a look in a moment at some of the games that are being played and who may get a shot to go. In progress, Big South Tournament on ESPN2, High Point and Liberty. UCF and Troy State, the Atlantic Sun, coming up at 4 Eastern time. And Murray State and Austin Peay. It's a great rivalry there in the Ohio Valley at 6 Eastern up over on ESPN2. Some dance cards being punched.
Well, if they're going to punch a dance card right here in Charleston, then Chattanooga's going to have to warm up. You are not going to win shooting 18% in the second half. Little bit of a three-quarter court, 1-2, 1-1. And this is not to steal. This is just to consume time.
They just joined our coverage. We mentioned again Ashley Champion, the all-conference player and big force inside for Chattanooga. Went down in the first minute and 30 seconds of this game. He has not returned with a sprained left ankle. Brown now using the glass. I'm not sure he meant to call that one.
You have to call that. That's the rules of basketball.
but they will still count all 3 points. Rhoda in, and he will draw the foul from Brian Richardson. There's a look at Ashley Champion, by the way, and they needed him to be a major factor, and he had 2 points, went down at the 18-minute and 30-second mark. Here's what happened. He goes down, grabs that left ankle. They came over, put ice on it, retaped him, took him back to the locker room, and he has not been able to get up and put much weight on it, and that has been a huge difference inside his absence for Chattanooga.
And Doc, you said it early on. He had hurt that ankle before, so it might have been a little bit sore. Then he comes down on it, but he's a senior. I mean, there is no way if he could physically be out on the floor. This could be his last game of his illustrious career. 2 years here, and he's already scored 1,000 points.
There's no doubt he would love to be on the floor if he possibly could. Just can't go. Pugh now in this place comes down with the rebound, putting on a great effort inside, and give a call to Alfonso Pugh. He is outmanned. They have more wide bodies, and he draws the foul.
And he did a good job. You know, he went to the opposite side of the rim where Wadu is there. He has 179 career blocks, so he went up against the guy.
Zaki Wadoud, number 2 in block shots in the league this year with 61. Tied for the top in steals, and as you look at Alfonso Pugh, we mentioned he missed a couple of games early in the year with a shoulder injury. He missed the game they played against East Tennessee State at Chattanooga when they had a 19-point lead and nearly beat East Tennessee State as the Buccaneers came back in the second half to win by 2 in the final minute. Margin now back down to 12 points for Jeff Lebo's Mocs of Chattanooga. 12% from the field in the second half, and that is the best shooting team in the league, averaging over 50% from the field on the season. Wow.
Okay, but really, as Knuckles goes to the basket and gets fouled, think of it. They shoot 50 from the field. They shoot 38 from 3. I mean, they're really shooting, you know, over 55, almost close to 60%. If you back out that 3-point percentage.
As you look at the long faces on the Chattanooga bench, and you see the coaches over there as well, they're wondering how in the world can this happen to a team where we have just shot the lights out all year long against anybody we played.
Well, the difference is, as I mentioned earlier, contested shots or open looks. Contested shots, as Rick Pitino once charted, you shoot about 33%. Open shots, you shoot about 45%. And there's a big difference in winning and losing in those percentages.
And that difference being coming into play here today in this Southern Conference title game, as the margin is 14 with under 10 minutes to play.
You know, Doc, the other thing is who makes up the 18 points a game they're missing from Ashley Champion? Who does it? You know, is it Rogan? Is it Pugh? Is it Brown? You know, it's hard to do that on, you know, instant notice.
A great point, Ashley Champion, and Wadoud will be tackled for a gain of 3 yards.
Now, he likes football. You said that, so that's okay for him.
Got to remember, these guys, this is the hardwood, Zaki. Watch this. He just gets the ball and just runs over the defender.
He just didn't see him.
No, he didn't see the little 5'9" Ray Trowell who he trampled.
That's why people need LASIK, to see little people that are underneath them.
That is the 4th personal foul for Zaki Wadoud. And keep in mind, last night, when he picked up his 4th personal foul and left the ball game, East Tennessee State was up by 12. Within 2 minutes, they were up by 5.
And this is exactly the reason you don't want to let your intensity down, because there's a lot of shooters. We're not talking a lot of possessions when you have a great 3-point shooting team.
Murray Bartow up off the bench, wants to talk it over, wants to be able to make sure this doesn't happen to his ball club tonight as what happened last night. He'll talk it over. We'll take a break and come back to Charleston in just a moment. And Pittsburgh trying to hold on to get a share of that title up at the Peterson Center. We got a good one going on here. East Tennessee State 61, Chattanooga 50. And that timeout a moment ago, a very valuable timeout by Murray Bartow.
Well, Wadood goes out of the game. Richardson steps in, hits the three. That's only the third three of the game for Chattanooga. They average nearly 8. So if you're breaking it down, Doc, you're looking at they get 24 points a game off threes. In the game thus far, they only have 9 points, 18%.
So mark it down. When Wadood went out with his 4th personal foul at 9:25 to play, the margin was 16, and now it is 11. And there's the man, Ashley Champion, who would dearly love to be on this floor, but cannot play because of a sprained left ankle. Watching helplessly as his Mox teammates try to climb back in here in this championship game of the Southern Conference.
These are really important momentum possessions for Chattanooga. If they can get a rebound and a possession, now they can chip at a lead. You know, you coaches say you get a stop, you execute. You stop, you execute.
A basket here will cut it to single digits for Chattanooga, and that could be huge in terms of momentum. Here is Pugh for 3.
Beautifully done with the extra pass.
The closest they have been since halftime, when the margin was 8 at the half. This is the MO for Chattanooga. They come barreling back in the final 10 minutes of these ball games. That's how they have won 8 different times here when they have trailed significantly in the second half.
You know, I'm starting to wonder, because when Jeff Lebo was at North Carolina, he had hair. Games like this will make him stay bald.
I saw that picture of him when he was a point guard for Dean Smith. He had a full head of hair, but now he's winning ball games. He probably will trade that hair for a few more wins.
Yeah, his daddy's got more hair than him. His dad, the legendary coach from Carlisle High School, 4 titles in a row there.
And here's the shooter, Richardson, from outside. And he nails 2 threes in a row in the 2 shots he has taken. And wow, Chattanooga now on a roll.
See, even if you're the defense and you're shifting, the shooters on the opposite side, all they're doing is running some diversion, and they reverse it quickly, and they have Richardson on the weak side. Look at this right here. See, that's your shooter right here. Run it, and you're going to see a lot of this screen roll. They're not going to him initially. See, they reverse the ball, and everybody jumps to this side, and your shooters are open in the corner.
You got Pugh on one side as a perimeter shooter, and you got Richardson on the other side. So you have a choice. The point you're making is you have a choice to go either way. The margin now is 7. As you see, Ashley Champion limping there. And what a champion he has been this year for Chattanooga. 2nd leading scorer in the conference. He has 2 points today, played only a minute and a half. And his teammates trying to battle the heavyweight of the Southern Conference, a defending conference champion, as they have drawn the margin down to 7.
And Chattanooga has been sitting in their 2-3 zone for the majority of the game, just forcing shots like that from Rhoda.
And Rhoda can't get it to follow. He can't get it to fall. Wadood's on the bench. The margin is 7. We got a good one down to the wire here in Charleston, South Carolina. As the East Tennessee State Buccaneers trying to hold on to win back-to-back conference titles. Sunday, ESPN offers some more NBA action on a special day and time. Paul Pierce and the Boston Celtics continue their fight for a playoff berth as they visit Kevin Garnett, Sam Cassell, and the Minnesota Timberwolves, who've been one of the NBA's best teams this season. That Sunday night, 7:30 Eastern time. The T-Wolves lead the Midwest Division 4 games up over San Antonio.
You need a roster to know the Celtics after Danny Ainge has done a little Isaiah Thomas, just resurrecting that whole basketball.
You know, Boston can go either way. They can go up toward the playoffs, or they can head down toward a lottery pick.
Yeah, that's right. And they were so close. You know, what are they, like 1 game from that last spot?
A 16-7 run the last 6 minutes and 3 seconds by Chattanooga, and thus the margin is down to 7.
Yeah.
There's the shooter who just misses the shot. Carolina's battling inside, and Knuckles takes it away.
And I was going to say that the reason they were able to get on that run as Rhoda is down was because they've hit 5 of their last 10 threes after a 1-for-14 start for Tennessee Chattanooga.
And here is Zaki Wadud. Remember, he picked up his 4th personal foul at the 9:25 mark. Well, watch this. Runs over the diminutive Ray Trowell. Just tramples him and picks up the 4th personal foul. He came back in last night with 8 minutes to play in the semifinal game and was the major difference in being able to maintain the lead. He played the final 8 minutes with 4 personal.
You know, in Washington, if you run through somebody like that, you get millions of dollars from Daniel Snyder.
And Joe Gibbs will love you.
Exactly.
They want to give Zaki Wadud a call. He's thinking about playing some football.
He should. He's got that pro-type body.
He was an option quarterback in high school, runs a 4.5 40, I'm told. At 6'5", 220 pounds, he can throw a football 70 yards very accurately. Right now, what he wants to do is throw a basketball very accurately here in the final 6 minutes and 20 seconds. Off the mark, nice follow by Catalinas inside. They told us how much of an effect this young man from Lithuania had on this team in the last month, and he is becoming more and more of a factor here in the final 10 minutes.
Well, that's what they're saying. He's probably the MVP of the team the last month because he's taken advantage of his playing time.
And the timeout by Murray Bartow. He wanted to talk it over before the shot went in, so it'll be no shot. And Bartow complaining a little bit about some pushing inside on his big fellas. Well, tonight, the ESPN celebration of one of college basketball's greatest rivalries continues from Cameron Indoor Stadium. Yeah, the Crazies will be all fired up there at 8 o'clock Eastern time. College game night presented by Wachovia Securities will be live from the arena. Then at 9 Eastern, Mike Patrick, Dick Vitale will have the call of the Blue Devils and the Tar Heels. North Carolina and Duke also available in high definition on ESPN HD. Call your cable operator, DirecTV, or the Dish Network today.
You have a tent? You know, NASCAR, they sit out there and they put up the tents and they hang out.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Just like the Dukies do before the game, Krzyzewskiville.
I got to believe it'll be another instant classic tonight here at Cameron Indoor with the Blue Devils and the Tar Heels.
You know, Jerry, what might be a classic is that Chattanooga has lost. The last 2 games they've lost this season in February have been to East Tennessee. It is difficult to beat a team 3 times in a row in a month.
It is, and those are their only 2 losses, you said, the whole month of February. They are not going to be intimidated. They opened the year at Kansas against the Jayhawks. Played very well out at Fall Allen. They lost at Alabama. They played LaSalle very tough at home. And, of course, you mentioned the only 2 losses in February were to this East Tennessee State Buccaneer team. And they're playing again without Ashley Champion, who is their all-conference player, who hasn't played but a minute and a half today.
It just shows you how important the pieces are. And a bench means something, especially to teams that say they're 7, 8, 9 deep.
5 points is the margin. East Tennessee State needs a bucket. That's long. And here come the Buccaneers. Folks, don't go away. This is what Chattanooga has done all year long. Clawed back to take the lead in the final 2 or 3 minutes. They did it the other night in the quarterfinals and the semifinals. The margin is 5.
Well, East Tennessee has done a really nice job of taking away that high screen roll where Tal rubs you off of it, but he also has a very beautiful jumper.
And they're going to say it was last touch by a mock from Chattanooga, and Jeff Lebo does not like the call at all. He believes that Knuckles may have gotten a hand on it and swatted it away, but it'll belong to East Tennessee State.
Okay, if East Tennessee State is going to advance, and they did last year to the NCAA tournament, they ended up losing in the first round by 2 points to Wake Forest, they're going to have to tighten up and execute offensively.
Boy, did this guy, Tim Smith, give Wake Forest and Demon Deacons all they could handle at Tampa last year.
Didn't he miss the shot at the buzzer that would have given him a tie?
And he misses that one again, and here comes Chattanooga with yet another chance to cut the margin to 3, or possibly even 2.
I've said it before, but when East Tennessee becomes a half-court team, they're a very average team. When they're pushing tempo, they are tremendous.
Pugh trying to be unselfish. Here comes Wadood. Throws the pass too far and getting a timeout. Wow, what a quick move by Tim Smith, getting the timeout called. I'm not sure he had possession, but he called the timeout as he was headed out of bounds.
I'm telling you, he was protecting his face.
Take a look at Chattanooga's tournament resume. The RPI is 86, and we talked to the some tournament people this week, and they talked about the RPI being a blunt instrument. It's not really a way to fine-tune who gets in and who doesn't get in. The RPI gets you noticed, but there's a lot more they take in consideration when they're trying to pick a team to play in the big dance.
You know, and Jerry, we were on a conference call the other day with the NCAA, and they were explaining to us that the last 10 games of the year really do mean something. Your strength of schedule, what you do non-conference. You know, a big win early in the year might not be as fruitful as a bad loss at the end of the year, because that's what the committee is looking for. I thought they really did a great job of helping us with an understanding of what goes on in that room.
That was wonderful for them to give us their time to be able to discuss what happens and how the selection has taken place. Wadood the turnaround, and he will draw the foul. And that's why he is so valuable, playing with 4 personal fouls, gets the 2, and will shoot the free throw.
And that's what you should do. You need a very important possession. Give the ball to the most valuable player in the conference. You got him. Use him.
Zaki Wadood grew up in Arkansas, didn't know his mother growing up. Basically, his father was incarcerated for a drug conviction, grew up, lived with his grandmother and his aunt. Could have made the wrong decisions to go in the wrong direction, but he dedicated himself to athletics, and the result is an outstanding young man who will graduate from college and be named Conference Player of the Year. What a great story for Zaki Wadood.
It is a great story, and now he's got somewhat of a relationship with his dad. He's been to a couple games, and, you know, kudos to his aunt, you know, for being that, you know, great presence in his life.
His aunt basically helped give him the direction, Zola Jackson. And for you youngsters who are listening, you don't feel maybe you have anywhere to turn, use this young man as an example. He had nobody to go to. He had no family. He had an aunt. He lost his grandmother even. He decided to make a decision to let athletics be his passion and make him successful. And the young man certainly has done that.
And let's not forget, he's a 3-0. I mean, he's very good academically as well.
Trying to lead his team to back-to-back conference tournament titles.
I don't think I had a 3-0 in 3 years at Old Dominion.
You had them all together?
Combined.
Foul inside, and Trowell will shoot a couple. I'm Jerry Punch, along with the Hall of Famer Nancy Lieberman. Member of the Basketball Hall of Fame in 1996, and Nancy won an Olympic gold medal at the age of 18. Unbelievable. How do you handle winning a medal in the Olympics at the age of 18?
It was an honor. You know, when you have Ann Myers and Pat Summit, at the time Pat Head on your team,
wow, you
leave everything to them. And Billy Moore, the Hall of Famer coach, really
that's a Hall of Fame waiting room right there.
It is, and they set the tone for teaching me.
Ray Trowell, 2 of 3 today. See if he can nail this one and narrow the margin. Back to 6 points. 3 minutes and 42 seconds to play in the 83rd edition of the Southern Conference Championship game. East Tennessee State up by 6. Thanks, Chris. And Chattanooga here has pulled back within 6 and had to do it without the efforts of their leader inside, Ashley Champion. An all-conference player went down in the first minute and a half of this game. Sprained left ankle. Big number 0 goes down, grabs the left ankle. They retaped it, put ice on it. He went in and out of the locker room twice, but has not been able to come back on the floor. They've had to play without his presence inside.
Well, and the tough part is he's been averaging 23 points, 11 rebounds the first 2 games of the tournament, but all has not been lost. 33 points off the bench in the game today, and that's why it's a 2-possession game.
Absolutely, a 6-point differential. And there is Tim Smith with the basketball, and he has struggled somewhat with the shooting touch in the second half after being very hot in the first half. Talking about the point guard for East Tennessee State.
Well, they just seem out of sync within their offense. They're standing. They only have 2 field goals the last 9 minutes and 30 seconds because they're not getting to the rim. That's what they do.
It's like someone has pushed the pause button on their offense. Here's Smith, throws it up with a second on the clock and makes it with 1 second on the shot clock. Just, wow.
He's like, Dr. Jerry Punts, don't ever say that I'm slowing this thing down.
I got you, buddy. Margin back to 9. We are inside 3 minutes here in the Southern Conference Tournament title game. Troll trying to answer. Catalinas with the rebound. Partially blocked by Knuckles and will be fouled over the back by Fields. Can you believe what Tim Smith just did a moment ago? Shot clock at 3 seconds, 2 seconds, turns around and just throws it.
Yeah, but look how he squared his hips and his shoulders. The follow through, that is his 3rd straight 20-point game in the tournament. And the 5th, it's his 5th in 6 in his career. Not too bad.
He had 24 points in the quarterfinals against Furman. He had 29 last night against Davidson. And now goes to 20 here in the final 2 minutes and 30 seconds of the title game against Chattanooga.
You know, we're not going to know how important that last shot was, because Chattanooga did everything to take the shot clock away from East Tennessee. And then they not only get a bucket, but it's a 3.
Oh, nice athletic move inside the duck under by Gerald Fields and a soft touch off the glass.
Can you remember the last time they've gone inside? I mean, they just went away from running and going inside.
I think it was Thursday. Here's Pugh on the rebound and can't get the finger roll, and here Fields will bring it down.
Now you're in a point of the game. You don't need to attack the basket. You need to milk some of that shot clock.
You don't need points, you need ticks off that clock. And the East Tennessee fans on their feet starting to feel it here as Wadood nails it from 22 feet.
Right, the cream rises to the top. Player of the year is supposed to make those kind of shots.
The senior making a statement. Southern Conference Player of the Year says we're going to go out with a bang. We want to win 2 titles and take our ticket to the big dance.
Well, there's still 17 seconds on the shot clock. Conventional wisdom would be use more of the clock, but you can't stop a guy like Wadood who's feeling it and has that type of confidence.
East Tennessee State faithful watched last year as their team took the regular season Atlantic Coast Conference champion Wake Forest Demon Deacons down to the wire in Tampa before falling 76-73. If East Tennessee State can hold on this last minute 29, you do not, I repeat, you do not want to be the team that plays them in the opening round of the tournament.
No, because they're athletic, they're big, they're strong, they run the floor. They are proven that even if they lose a lead, they can come back and they can execute on key possessions.
Buccaneers have been to the big dance 6 times in their career. They won in 1968 when they won the regular season in the Ohio Valley Conference. They have won 5 conference titles, including a year ago here in the Southern Conference. They went 4 years in a row with Les Robinson was the head coach back-to-back and then left to go to NC State. Alan LaForce came on board, was the head coach, and they went to back-to-back tournament games, 89, 90, 91, and 92.
Now that just shows you the consistency that they've been able to have. And you know, this team, to me, reeks of balance. During the regular season, East Tennessee State University had 5 players in double figures, and in this game, they have 5 players in double figures.
21 points today, 14 for Zaki Wadood, who averages 14.8, right on his average. But Chattanooga not giving up. They will battle inside.
Well, they'll battle inside, but you don't want to stop the clock if you're East Tennessee. You don't want to foul.
Here is Smith. They'll run the nice soft floater up, and that's what he has done all year long. A 15-foot-in-the-air floater over the big guy inside.
Jerry, 9 of the last 11 points have come from either Smith or Wadood. That's the way you get it done with your stars.
And Chris Brown has no option but to foul and stop the clock as they will send the freshman Travis Strong to the free throw line. Travis, an 87% free throw shooter.
Right here, pushing tempo. How pretty is this? You've got two guys filling the wings. You got your 3-on-1, and he just feels the magic.
And how about the freshman Travis Strong, who will shoot these free throws, who stepped in last night. And by the way, as you look at Travis Strong, no stranger to pressure. He played in Memphis, Tennessee, led his high school team to 3 state tournament titles in AAA ball. Exceptional shooter, great leaper, understands what it means to hit the free throws down the wire.
And by the way, they call him one of their better defenders. But this is a kid who's going to have to play a lot of minutes if James Anthony cannot come back.
Off the mark outside. You know, we got to mention East Tennessee State playing without one of their starters. James Anthony, who was injured on left shoulder last night against Davidson, and the question is, will he be ready for the tournament? Final 36 seconds here in Charleston, South Carolina. The Buccaneers of East Tennessee State, Murray Bartow, Conference Coach of the Year in his very first year at the helm in Johnson City. And for the second year in a row, East Tennessee State will get a ticket punch to the big dance.
Exclamation point.
Final 10 seconds, the margin 16 points. Ashley Champion can do nothing with a sprained ankle. And let the celebration begin from here in the North Charleston Coliseum. The Buccaneers of East Tennessee State are the 2004 Southern Conference champions. And for the 7th time in school history, they will head to round 1 of the NCAA tournament. There is Ashley Champion, the all-conference player for Chattanooga, injured in the first minute and a half of this ball game. Well, that's it from North Charleston Coliseum in Charleston, South Carolina. Our final score, East Tennessee State 78, Chattanooga 62. Let's go back to the studio where Chris Fowler is standing by. Congratulations to East Tennessee State. Chris?
Indeed, Jerry, that's what championship week is all about. East Tennessee State, you saw the celebration there. It's kind of muted by the standards of championship week. They expected to be back in the field of 65. They will be. And who could forget 12 years ago, East Tennessee State stunning 3-seed Arizona back in 1992. We'll see where they fit. They have a pretty good RPI. They're going to get a decent seed. Meanwhile, Liberty